What's up, guys? Justin Morgan here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how partials or like partial deadlifts, partial bench press is not as commonly used with partial squats, but most certainly that's sometimes used as well. Um, with all this talk in the strength YouTube fitness community over the past couple of days about the use of these lifts, they've kind of been put in a negative light. Now, I personally don't use them very frequently. I do for the snatch and the clean and jerk for kind of the same idea that I would use them in the deadlift, but that's not how they've really been being used. So they've been used primarily from the people that I've seen on YouTube, at least what's been in recent discussion, as a way of overload. But that is not generally how they're used, either for weightlifting or for powerlifting. In powerlifting, you can actually pull more off of blocks or off of a higher elevation than you normally can, whereas in weightlifting, a lot of people are actually able to lift less because you have to be faster under the bar. In that case, the limiting factor is not strength, but it's more speed. So there are some great coaches out there, like Coach Boris Shako, that I think really highly of, and I'm probably going to do a full review on some of his programs and why I think some of the way that people have reviewed him in the past has not been fair. But this is an element that I picked up from following his training and from reading his articles and things that he published. But the big reason that he puts, that I noticed that he puts partial range of motion lifts in is to reduce fatigue while allowing you to maintain the similar intensity. So if you're going into a meet or going into something where you need to rest up, you need to recover, you need to reduce fatigue that's been accumulated over the course of a training block, then a partial deadlift or a deadlift from either below or at the knees is a great way to allow you to continue to maintain a similar intensity or a similar percentage of what you've been lifting, while also allowing you to reduce fatigue because it's a much easier way to do it. So that is a really good way to use the deadlift. Other ways, there was I can't remember the guy's name, he was a farmer from back in the I want to say 1930s, 40s, somewhere in that range, maybe a little bit later. No, Bob Peoples. He was one of the very first people to deadlift, I believe it's like something really high. He had a tremendous deadlift and he was below 200 pounds. So I want to say it was like 800 pounds that he deadlifted. Farmer would deadlift every day. But what would be interesting about that was that he used it in a way where he would start out with a really high elevation. He would only deadlift it a few inches, and progressively over time he would increase the distance that he was pulling a given weight for. So that was a way of manipulating the resistance over time so that eventually I think the way that he would do it was that he would dig a hole and start pulling deadlifting the weight that he wanted to lift from that height, and then he would fill in the hole a little bit each day. So eventually he was at ground level and he was pulling like as if he were pulling from the floor. So I mean, mind you, this is like back when equipment was not readily available. But that was just kind of a different way to do that. So basically, I have Boris Shako was using it continues to use it in his programming for athletes to reduce fatigue while maintaining intensity. Bob Peoples used it as a way to increase the of overload, I guess, technically, but not really in the way that like people on YouTube recently have been using it. But so that's a couple ways that, in my opinion, are very legitimate ways to use partial ranges of motion in those lifts to increase a lifter's ability or capacity to do a certain weight or to increase their performance. So that's it. You guys take it easy, and I will talk to you in that next video. If you like the information you're hearing, then please subscribe to the channel and remember to hit like, and I'll talk to you guys next time.